Welcome to the Authentic Human Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Vickers. Similar to how military and special ops use remote viewing to access secret information, I communicate directly with universal beings to better understand creation, existence, and evolution. For the past 20 years, I've worked with thousands of people around the world, helping them gain access to the highest level information possible so they can achieve their ultimate goals. Right now, I've partnered with the Creator and some of the most influential beings in existence to bring you the story of creation. My goal is to create a world where you remember who you are and why you exist. Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast. This is the story of creation, part 22. We are completely unscripted and we are live. So, we never know what's coming out, and we never know who's going to talk. So right now, let's see, we've got. Okay, so also, if you ever see me staring off into space, it's because I'm feeling into the energy. Yes, so that's really where that comes from. Okay, so we definitely have angelics with us today, and we have a lot more of the second stream today. So those are the angelic beings who they govern, if you will, experience, right? So the first stream of angelics created matter, and then their mission is to govern that creation and continue it and continue it to evolve. So that being said, and this is why this is so important today, is because we're working with, and we're going to be working with, the second stream of angelics who their mission is to create experience. So it's understanding that they're creating the opportunity for experience. Okay. And so what that means is, as universal beings, we all, like, you're a universal being, I'm a universal being, the Creator is a universal being. We're all here, and we have the opportunity to experience existence in ways that we choose. Okay? This is what makes you a creator. And so what they're going to do today, what they want to explain a little bit more, is how that really comes to pass. Like, how are you a creator? And so what the Creator is saying is, that was his vision, was to create a world where everyone and everything within its borders. Now, it's not absolutely accurate how we think of borders, but it doesn't matter. For the purposes of today, everyone and everything, this is really important, within its borders has the opportunity to create their own experiences. Now, once that intention was set, that was the overall intention for this universe, okay? Because, and he says, my interest lies in possibility as the Creator. And you cannot explore possibility if you don't offer free range. It's impossible. So, that's a perfect example of a micromanager and a manager who hires the right people to do the job and then lets them do the job, right? There's a fundamental difference. Those are the companies that thrive. Those are the companies that have retention of their staff and their team, because when you are respected and you understand that who you are is a pivotal part of the bigger picture, then you want to participate. You actually do. And so this is why he is sharing, and he wants you to understand that it's not just words when he says you're a pivotal part of existence and evolution. And, it's understanding that that essence, that truth is primal in your beingness. Okay. It's understanding that when you feel restless, when you feel resentment, when you feel frustration, when you feel fear, it is typically because you feel like you can't be who you are. Okay? Now, gosh, it's the energy today is just so big. And what what I mean by that is it's all encompassing. And so this message, I want you to feel it as I'm sharing it, because you're going to get more information and wisdom and insights from the energy than you ever will from my words. Okay. However, it's really nice to have the words to go along with it because it confirms what we're feeling. And really, that's all my job is just to confirm so that you can build up that courage and confidence to go, yep, I know what I'm feeling exactly every single time, right? That's the intention of this whole project that's going on for a couple of years. So anyways, let's go back and what he's really sharing, okay? And what he wants you to understand is you're an integral piece of the puzzle, right? And what I mean by a puzzle is, if you look at existence and creation as one static object for just 1 minute, okay? You're an integral piece of it. If your piece is missing, then the balance is off. And this is why humanity has been suffering, is because there's too much balance that's off. Okay? It's also how we restore balance. If you want to understand more about the universal energy of balance, I highly recommend my book, Believe. It literally breaks down the energy of balance. But what the creator today wants you to understand, and what he wants to explain along with the angelics of experience, is that without you, evolution doesn't occur. Okay? So here's the thing. It's not like pressure and they're putting this, big piece on top of you that says, oh my gosh, now I have another job to do. No. That comes from the backwards mind that says, here's my to-do list. Okay, that's the mind thinking. When you are naturally who you are, your instincts to try new things, to have different experiences than you have before, that tiny thing that seems insignificant, right? Because we've been taught those are things you do in your spare time. Those are your interests, but you have to have a real job. It is your passions that actually take you further than anything else in the world, in existence. Why? Because when you're passionate about something, you spend more time doing it, okay? It takes less effort from you. And what I mean by effort is you don't have to work against everything to do it. It is something that comes to you easily. Okay? It's like whatever it is that you're doing is already a part of you. Right? That's passion. It's an extension of yourself. Maybe, you're into some kind of sport. Maybe, it's riding bikes or, hockey or golf. But whatever that tool is. Maybe you're a carpenter. That is your jam. You love creating with your hands. Whatever it is becomes an extension of you and who you are when it's your passion. Okay, that's the difference between a job and a passion. Passion is, and sometimes it could be, maybe you're a singer-songwriter, so your voice is your instrument, right? Or, maybe you're a musician and your instrument is your instrument. um, that's funny. But it's understanding that, and sometimes maybe you're a photographer. It doesn't matter. The point is, when it is your passion, it speaks at a different frequency and vibration than a job. Okay? It holds the secrets and the awarenesses of who you are as a soul and how you were created to exist in this universe. Okay? We don't give this enough credit in this society because we've been taught that those things are not valuable, that those things are elusive. There's only a few people who can actually make money following their passions. We've been taught it's something you do in your free time. And there's also, there's a number of people who get angry that people charge for their passion, right? That people put a price on their passion. So we're going to clear up all of these misrepresentations and misunderstandings today. So the first thing that the creator wants to share is, when you understand that you were created for a very specific reason, okay? That reason is in the vibration and frequency of energy, of universal energy. And then you were created as a soul. So you have soul energy, which is different. It's a different experience than universal energy. And then you chose to come into this physical human expression, which is, again, a different energy from both of those, because now you're also in physical energy. So there's 3 different vibrations and frequencies that you have to work with all the time. You're doing it subconsciously. You don't even know, because it is innate within you. Now, when you, in between lives, when you go back into a state of being just a soul, now you will vibrate in the frequency of just a soul with also universal energy. So you'll have those 2 vibrations working with you. It's understanding that here, so, excuse me, in this physical world, we've been taught that we carry everything. So, for example, if you are studying for something, right? And you study from all these different sources, whether they're, online, whether it's text, it doesn't matter whether it comes from humans. But the point is, you then choose, because we've been taught, right, to carry all of this information. So now, ultimately, what that is you're carrying a load, if you will, okay? You're carrying a load which becomes a burden. This is very, very, very important to understand, okay? Because when you recognize that it is actually a burden, then you understand instinctually that that is not how humans learn. Okay? Because when you're working within the realms of physical, soul, and universal energy, you have access to everything that exists on all 3 of those vibrations and frequencies in every realm. There is nothing in existence you do not have access to. You don't need to carry it all around. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Okay? The creator, when he's saying, when I chose this experience of exploring potential, the one thing that I knew every being, okay, every being, so not just humans, everyone who exists here would need direct access to everything in existence. That means everything that currently exists, everything that has ever existed, as well as everything that is already a potential. All of that. That's how much information we have access to. Because he understood that in order for us to actually experience our potential, we needed to have an understanding of everything in existence, because that's what's called working together. um, and this is the epitome of working together, but it's also the foundation of it. This is how we were created to work together. This is why we get so frustrated when we don't have information we need. Maybe it's information about your health, information about what's possible for you in any capacity, anything that you're interested in, whether it's your relationships, your wealth, your health, right? If you feel like you don't have access to that information because someone told you, oh, we can't do that for you, or we can't get that, or that's impossible, that sets off a red light in your brain. Okay? Because instinctually, you understand you're meant to have that information. That is why you were triggered to ask for it. And yet, there is someone telling you, oh, we can't get that for you. What happens instantly is you do not trust that person or that organization. And that's the point. There's a reason for that. Because we do have access to everything. We've just been trained to think that we don't, and we need to be good little boys and girls. And I say that in a very derogative way, because that is exactly how we've been taught to mind your P's and Q's. Don't ask questions that make those people uncomfortable because they don't want you to have that information. So don't challenge it. This is why instinctually we become passionate in our frustration, because we have a deep inner knowing that what is occurring, it's not that it's wrong, okay? But that's the word we use because we don't have a bigger understanding. And that's what I want to communicate today. That's what they're sharing today is it's not that it's wrong. It's that it goes against your natural state of being. That's how big this is. That is why your frustration, your annoyance, your feelings of being taken advantage of, right? That's what it feels like. It feels like when someone's lying to you, they're treating you like you don't know your own self. You don't know what's best for you. And that is what hurts. And it hurts energetically. And what I mean by hurt is it's not an emotional attack. This is really important. It's understanding that you instinctively know that that energy is there. That's why it's like energetically what happens is when you have a question, when you want to know something about yourself, about existence, your energy starts to reach out, okay? Naturally in that direction. This is what we do, right? We are satellites that we are broadcasting and we are receiving. So if you imagine the moment you ask a question, okay, it's like your satellite sort of is tuning into everywhere in the universe that holds those answers for you. And then if you allow it to continue, it will find a very specific satellite that has the exact information you're looking for. Maybe it's a couple of them, maybe it's a handful, but it'll start at, billions, and then it'll go down to millions and down to hundreds of thousands and blah, 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 right? The point is that is how finite the universe works. And we've been taught that it's this massive thing, and we can never understand massive things because they're too big for our tiny little bits of awareness in our brains. The reality is, you're right. Your brain does not and will never have the capacity to understand the fullness of who you are and who you were created to be. But your energy does. And it's inside of you. And all you have to do is listen through the vibration. And so, really and truly, today is about self-recognition and recognizing that when you feel frustrated, when you feel annoyed because something isn't flowing, take a few breaths, feel into the energy, and start to notice if you're the one who's pulling that energy back because you've lost trust. Okay? Because this is what we do. When we lose trust with someone or something or an organization, we don't let our energy free anymore. We block it. And that's on us to change because we have that ability. So someone said something 500 times the same way. So maybe 501 they won't. But if you give them that opportunity because you've chosen to stay open, right? They can't hurt you, right? They can block you from getting information you need. So then you look at a different source. It is what it is. But the point is your experience is a result of your choices. And so all of these opportunities are available to you at every moment. It's understanding and recognizing that we've been taught to look in specific places to get the information we want. And we've also been taught that you're not going to get it. So you're going to get frustrated. So we go into this circle of, I want this information. Oh, but I can't get it because this source, and this source won't give it to me. So what do I do? And then we get stuck in pity. Okay. We get stuck in that poor me of nobody's going to help me. And what the universe is saying and what the angelics here are saying is there is always a way to truth. But we have to be willing to see it, which means we have to be willing to participate in a way other than the rules that we've been taught of this is how it works. Okay? That's the point of experience, is that we keep going until we get what we need. And most of us we've become comfortable with being told no. We become complacent. And that complacency is costing you fulfillment. Because every time someone told you no, every time someone, smacked your hand for sticking your fingers in the cookie jar because you wanted something, and they said, oh, no, that's not for you. For whatever reason, you're not good enough, you're not skilled enough, you're not knowledgeable enough. You have to be able to say, thank you so much for your opinion, and keep looking, because there is another opportunity for your passion, whatever it happens to be, whether it's your health, your wealth, your money, your relationships, your home, your community. It doesn't matter. Your vision for the world. Keep looking until you find what you're looking for. And ultimately, it's fulfillment. Fulfillment is answers to your questions that actually create the change that you want to experience. And that's the whole point. Fulfillment it's what we crave the most because we were designed to crave it. And so when we get frustrated because we're not experiencing fulfillment, maybe it's in your relationship and you feel like this person isn't fulfilling me. It's not your job. It's not their job. It's your job to fulfill yourself. So it's understanding that either you could potentially have chosen a person that isn't isn't a correct partner, isn't willing to partner with you on this journey of exploring your passions. But it's understanding that the universe itself is designed to ensure you thrive, but you have to participate and you have to keep participating. If you try one little thing and then give up and then get frustrated because everybody else told you no, you're not participating. You're sitting there justifying why you're not participating. Exploring your potential means doing every single thing you can to participate in it. It's like, it's not even achieving, it's finding fulfillment. It's knowing that fulfillment, it has nothing to do with how big the goal is. It has everything to do with how you feel at the end of the day. And how you feel is about recognizing when you have contentment, it's because you know you did everything you could and you participated in a way that brought those results to you. So I'm going to challenge you today. The creator, he's saying, create an opportunity today. And if you can do it every day, great. If you can do it once a week, that's fine too. But create an opportunity that takes you outside of your comfort zone and then fully participate in it. Go all in. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't, it doesn't have to be elaborate. But it needs to be one thing where when you get to the end, there's a contentment in your soul that you feel as a result of your own participation. So not only did you create it, but you fulfilled it. Because this is what we were created to do. Continuously challenge our complacency and have experiences that bring us the greatest joy, which truly is fulfillment. That's the greatest joy. It's not a whole bunch of money or a whole bunch of this. It's when you recognize that who you are and what you did was just amazing. Like, think about the last thing you did that was hard. It was so hard. You were shaking or you were nervous or you were terrified. You didn't even know if you could do it, but you did it. You showed up in spite of everything around you and you did it. Because that was you creating change in your life. That was you following your instincts and challenging yourself in a way that allowed you to feel like you are a part of the bigger picture. That you were who you were, what you were doing was contributing to humanity and existence itself. That's what we're here to do. So go see what you can create today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon for part 23. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Authentic Human Podcast. I'm Michelle Vickers. If you're one of the select few who felt the depth and energy of universal wisdom in this episode, I invite you to join our private community, the Authentic Human Collective, where episodes are recorded live and the conversation and exploration go far beyond what the public is ready to hear. Find all the details at michellevickers.com.